Hey guys, Northeast Survival and Preparedness. New series of videos I want to put out, and these I'm calling my versus videos. And what I'm going to do is take common survival items and compare them, look at their strengths, their weaknesses, and kind of have a quick discussion about it. It's not meant to say one is better than the other or whatnot, but just to kind of discuss, the pros and cons of these items and give you a little information when it comes to making survival kits and choosing what survival gear you bring with you on certain trips and whatnot. So guys, if you like these sort of videos, let me know, leave me some feedback. If you don't like them, let me know as well, because if I don't get some decent feedback, I probably won't make many more of them. I have some other ideas. I want to do like Bic lighter versus match, knife versus machete, axe versus saw, stuff kind of like that. And the first video here we're going to do is duct tape versus super glue. Now, I wanted to do this one because I think super glue kind of gets really overlooked in the world of survival, and I just kind of wanted to, because they're kind of similar items, I wanted to compare the two and just kind of show you the good and the bad and why you should be carrying actually both of these items. Once again, this is not a which is better kind of thing, but just showing the good and the bad. Let's just say right off, if you don't have duct tape and super glue within reach of you, you might as well just turn in your man card now. Most of us have duct tape all over. It's in our house, it's in our car, it's in our survival kits, it's in our garage. We have it. Same with super glue. Very common, cheap items, and they're both available in all different shapes and sizes. You can buy little tiny rolls, like this little itty bitty roll of duct tape here, which I think was like $1, or you can buy them in big, huge industrial rolls. Same goes with super glue. You can buy them in this little tiny 99-cent single-use pouch, or you can buy big, huge, jugs of it. So they both have that capability of being as big or as small as you want. Of course, primarily, these are both items that are used for fixing stuff, and they both do a great job in it. Duct tape, very strong. You can fix almost anything with it. Same with super glue, very strong. You can stick almost any two things together and it works and it holds good, and great all-around items. You put the two of these together, you can fix pretty much anything in the world, Maybe a little wire and you're set, But we're not talking about just fixing stuff. We're talking about survival. Now, these both have some inherent strengths when it comes to survival, and I think duct tape's biggest strength, aside from fixing things, is that it can be used as a fire starter. I came across a video 6 months or so ago where somebody took duct tape and they shredded it down into little tiny fibers, and they used a flint and steel to light it into a fire, and I found that to be a very, very kind of useful thing. That it works as a fire starter on top of being something you can use to repair gear. Of course, you can use duct tape for bandages. You can make almost anything out of it. The show Mythbusters on Discovery Channel has done just numerous videos on duct tape, and they've pretty much made everything you can make out of this stuff. And there's just really, you're limited by your imagination. The big downfall with duct tape is that it doesn't work good in wet environments. If you've got wet gear, it's not going to stick very good to wet things, and you really need it to be dry when you put it on if you want it to stick long term. In that case, it's really not the best bandage, because if you say for example you cut your foot and you're in a wet environment, that duct tape is pretty much probably just going to peel right off your foot and not last very long. So it is kind of weather sensitive, and plus in the cold it does get a little the adhesive gets a little tacky, and it can be tough to unroll in the extreme cold, and in the extreme heat the same thing. You can have the glue kind of get melty and run off it, and, so it is a little bit environmentally sensitive. But overall, when you think about it, if you're imaginative enough, you can make rope out of it, you can make traps out of it, to catch animals. You can make like a rat trap or a mouse trap. Just put some of that on some wood, and bait it, and as they walk onto it, animals will probably stick to it, small mice and things like that. You can make nets, you can make your imagination. You can make pretty much anything out of duct tape. But super glue, that's what we're here for, super glue. Why is super glue awesome? Why is it just as good as duct tape out in the woods? You don't think, how could super glue be great out in the woods? Well, you gotta go back to its origins. Super glue was originally designed to be a temporary skin, holy hell, I'm blanking here, guys. An adhesive. It was meant to fix wounds. Developed around World War I era, and this is something you could put on a cut and seal it up and protect it from the environment. And of course, it's come and been popularized in the industrial world, but originally it was meant to be basically a bandage. And the cool thing about it is it'll work in pretty much any environment. You put some, you cut your foot and you're in a wet environment and you clean that foot off and you throw some super glue on it, that super glue is going to stick no matter how wet your feet get, and it will keep it good and keep the wound together. And I've actually put some pretty serious wounds together with super glue over the years. It works actually pretty well as for holding cuts together that should probably use a stitch or two. So it's actually dynamite in that aspect. I wish it was useful as a fire starter, but it's really not. But likewise, it's also something that's very good for making primitive tools or traps or things to catch and gather animals. You can very easily use that glue to connect rock to wood or metal to wood to make spears and axes and things like that. It's not perfect, but it will give you extra support on top of your lashing. If you were to get and make yourself some natural cordage and wrap it around and then put super glue on that cordage is going to get really hard and tight and keep that what you're keeping together a little better. So it's actually really good for making, and I've actually used it quite a few times in making like frog spears, keeping heads on spears and attaching pieces of one of the things I like to do, guys, is I like to kind of go out sometimes with nothing and just use like the common trash that's out in the woods to survive with. So sometimes I'll make like frog spears out of like old tin cans and things like that. So a little tube of super glue, you can get creative and make spears and do things like that. So I think it's really cool that you can do that kind of thing just out of trash with a simple thing of super glue. One of the things about super glue is once you open it, you always run the risk of it drying. So I do recommend getting it in the smaller tubes, carrying a handful of them. They are pretty small and light, so you can do that. But if you do open one and you don't use it all, you do run the risk of it drying out on you if you don't seal it very well. So that's kind of a big con for super glue. But like I said, guys, it's you can use it to fix gear, you can use it to fix your skin. You can use it to make camp furniture. If you're out in the woods and you want to make some camp furniture, super glue works on wood. It's great for making camp furniture. If you want to make a little bench or a little table for out in the woods, there's just so many different things you can do for super glue. And if all else fails, I guess you can huff it and get high off it. Just kidding, guys. Don't sniff glue. It's really bad for you. But a lot of neat ways to use it, and using it in conjunction with duct tape, you really can expand your survival tools that you have. You can make things, you can fix things, you can do a lot. You can use it to make fire, you can use it to heal yourself. Great things, great items. And I really think, when you get that duct tape, get a little tube of super glue too. These things come hand in hand and work great together, and they work great in solving almost any problem you have out in the woods. And I'm telling you guys, these are great in your survival kits. These are great in your emergency vehicle kit. If you have an emergency kit in your car, these are great to have because there's tons of things on cars that can be fixed with duct tape and glue. They're great to keep in your hunting packs, your fishing packs, your tackle boxes, anything you can think of. These are great, cheap items you can stash away, and you can keep the big industrial sized ones in your house, and you'll never go wrong with duct tape and super glue.